I cannot believe what I just witnessed as the Winnipeg Jets absolutely curb stomped the Boston Bruins in a game that shocked everyone. We saw tons of fights. We saw Logan Stanley. We saw the recently called up Winnipeg Jet have a goal. You see the coaches going at it. Man, oh man, was this an absolute pleasure to watch. And it ended with a Winnipeg Jets masterclass win. They're looking like their former selves of earlier this season. Things are looking phenomenal. We're going to break all it down in this episode. But before we get into it, folks, if you're a part of the percentage that aren't subscribed to the channel, about 90% of you who are watching this video right now on Jets Digest aren't subscribed. Scroll down, hit that button, and let me know in the comments after you've hit that button. I read every single comment, so make sure to do that. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. If you're on Hat-Trick, do the exact same thing. We'll check them over there as well. But there's, I mean, what a game. And we had a Jets video earlier today, a lot of different things going down, and we covered the move for a player, Nikita, who came up and was very good. He made his debut tonight for the Jets, and man, oh man, what a crazy game. Let's dive into the box score here. I mean, ton of goals, 8 of them to be exact. So we saw Mason Appleton score. We saw Nikita score. I feel like I'm gonna butcher his last name, so I'm just gonna call him Nikita for the sake of this video. We saw Nikita score. We saw Alex Iafallo score. Vladimir Nemestikov. So many great goals. A lot of great plays by everybody. Complete game from the guys here tonight. Darius, what a crazy game. We saw the coaches get into it. We saw the fights go down, and not one fight, not two fight, not three, multiple fights tonight. And it was an interesting game, and I just want to get your thoughts on it. And shout out Logan Stanley for getting in several fights, and you can see that there, 15 penalty minutes. I know a lot of Jets fans hate him, but I mean, if you're gonna play bad, at least play bad with some fight.
Yeah, at least he fought tonight, right? And making himself useful in that way. And sometimes, hey, that's the case, right? But obviously, that wasn't the reason that the Jets won this game. The reason that they won this game is because their big dogs came to play again. And they haven't been the last couple of games in the last couple of weeks. They've been sputtering a little bit, but in this one, they came to play. And the Bruins have been struggling. This was a bad game for the Boston Bruins, but Mark Scheifele on the board with 2 goals here. No goals from the defenseman, which is pretty interesting because, you know, the offense from their defense was also a big story heading into this season, or at least, you know, on their winning streak when they had that earlier this season. But obviously Neil Pionk continuing to do what he does very quietly. Mason Appleton's goal was just, you know, sometimes you just got to throw it towards the net, right? So a couple of these, yes, we're a little bit lucky and the product of bad goaltending from the Boston Bruins and Jeremy Swayman in that way. And we'll get to that in a bit in this video, but lots to like from the Winnipeg Jets tonight. If you look at the impact chart, very minimal, you know, negative impact, especially on the offensive side of the game. I mean, everyone was kind of contributing. Also, like in terms of the fighting, I hope Gustafson's okay because obviously that was a pretty ugly look there as well. So hopefully he's okay. But you know what? This game had everything. High scoring from the Jets. You completely pummel your opponent, both on the scoreboard and literally physically. You have the coaches going at it. You love to see that emotion from Scott Arniel as well. So everything went well for the Jets tonight. And I think it was really because, you know, their top guys were going and they knew coming into this game, this is a must win. Let's get back on track here.
Yeah, and now they've managed to squeeze out a couple wins in a row. They're starting to look a little bit better. You can see Scheifele spearheads the impact chart. Kyle Connor played well, gave Larry Nikita Shibrikov, hopefully I pronounced it right, played well. And you're looking at it, and yeah, he's been looking very good. And obviously, everybody on the team has been looking very good in the past couple of games, but especially this game. Like, it's one of the games where the offense was so dominant that everybody played well, even Connor Hellebuyck. And we got to see, of course, Ville Heinola. We got to see Logan Stanley. Their pairing, which is interesting. Heinola got 3, you know, he's a +3 tonight with a shot on goal. So he had some positive impact as well. That kind of, you know, goes with the impact chart. He was the 4th on the team in the impact chart there, which is actually very intriguing. Again, the impact chart isn't a be-all, end-all thing, but in a game that saw a bunch of different things, and the Boston Bruins have been playing better as of late. The crowd was even getting on them. You see the Jets fans seated behind the Bruins goalie, Jeremy Swayman, are chanting U.S. third string after Boston goalie gave up 6 goals. Jake Ottinger heard U.S. backup on November 9th in a 4-1 loss at Canada Life Center. I mean, you got to love Jets fans. They're just going all in on these guys, and in a game that it wasn't a must-win or anything like that, but again, against a very good and very respectable, formidable Boston Bruins opponent, team takes care of business. They get the win, and it was a big one to say the least.
Yeah, it really was. And I mean, who was the starter going to be for Team USA there? I wonder who it is. The Winnipeg Jets goaltender. So obviously everybody coming in here, Jeremy Swayman's going to be the 3rd string. That, you know, the crowd is getting on the Bruins. You'll have to see that. The crowd has been very vocal in Winnipeg, especially this year. So I thought that was like really funny. I thought that was hilarious. And again, earlier this season, Ottinger getting it as well. So Jeremy Swayman has not been playing great, and he actually left him in for all 8 goals tonight, which is pretty surprising, I think, because the Bruins did not play last night and they don't play tomorrow. So I thought that was very interesting. And yeah, love to see the crowd crowd getting involved. And then obviously, speaking of the crowd getting involved, they got their money's worth tonight with a bunch of extracurriculars going on the ice, a couple fights. Logan Stanley's getting into a fight. Obviously, like I mentioned off the top, I hope Gustafsson is okay. He seemed to be okay, but hopefully he's okay. So a couple fights there. Then obviously the coaches were getting into it. There was another fight right after this. Then the Jets scored a record-setting 2 goals in 10 seconds. That was the fastest 2 goals since they moved to Winnipeg for the franchise. So lots to like in this game, that's for sure. And again, Logan Stanley fighting with Mark Kastelek. Obviously, 2 big boys going at it there, so that was crazy. And then the 2 coaches yelling at each other, and obviously that was pretty crazy. But Nick, what do you think? Like, this was a really good pushback from the Winnipeg Jets. Like, we've seen them again; they've been struggling the last couple of weeks, and their scoring has kind of gone away. And in this game, you get everything. You get a good performance from Connor Hellebuyck. You get your scoring back. And the physicality is there. They were not being pushed around. There was a couple fights. So I think this game had the whole package, and this was a really good pushback game for the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, the team has been off to a bit of a rocky month of December and late November, but I mean, you couldn't have asked. I don't know if you could have painted a better game. We discussed it in the video earlier today about how their team is starting. You mentioned it. They're starting to play a little bit better, and they're definitely more on the side of how they were at the first half of the year compared to the second half and how they've been playing since. And I mean, they saw it tonight. And again, this isn't a game without Nikolai Ehlers. It's in a game without, I mean, obviously Dylan Sandberg's been out for a very long time, and he's going to be out for a very long time. So it's like, it's trying to figure out how this blue line and how this core is working out alongside Logan Stanley and Ville Heinola. And they looked pretty solid tonight. Neil Pionk had another great game. Even Hayden Fleury's out there throwing the assist up. So it's solid, and Mark Scheifele is doing what he does, and maybe this is a sign that he's feeling better now. And obviously, he didn't want any rest during his little injury, and he was dealing with it. He looked a little bit better out there tonight, still lingering at times, but he had 2 goals and an assist in 20 minutes. Like, he looked better. I think the team is starting to look better, and also an honorable mention, or an honorable shout out, I guess, to Gabe Vilardi. Again, it's been the most steady, one of the most steady players this season. You could argue he's been the steadiest player alongside Kyle Connor, who also had a great game, but of course, Nikita Shibrikov, I mean, you send down Brad Lambert, you call Nikita Shibrikov up, he scores a goal, he scores an assist, he only plays 12 minutes, he was on that second line to start the game, so I don't know, I love the way that everybody played, and ultimately I think they're going to translate, and shout out to Connor Hellebuyck as well, steady like usual, but much needed win, and I'm glad that I got to witness all these ridiculous fights.
Yeah, back on track for the Winnipeg Jets. It's really good news if you're a Jets fan. And again, on Shibrikov as well, he's a goal a game in the NHL right now. He played a game, obviously, before this season. He scored in that game. He scores again in this game, puts up a couple points there. So doing his job in the NHL. And we talked about it, earlier today, the move for him, obviously being called up for Brad Lambert. I think it was more about Lambert getting some more reps in the AHL and feeling more confident about himself. But, the fact that they're doing that while, Shibrikov comes up and he gets a goal tonight, that's really great, right? He contributed tonight, and that's fantastic. Again, his goal with I believe it was the 8-1 goal, so not a huge difference maker or anything like that, but it was a good shot, and he's getting involved in the offense. So love to see that from obviously the call-ups, and you're going to need that as these games go on, because this happened tonight. It was a great game. They outscored their opponent heavily, obviously outchanced them. There was a lot of physical activity as well, and the fights and all that, and lots of hits and stuff too. But you need guys to start playing like this when the games are a little bit tighter too, which I suspect that will happen as the schedule continues to ramp up here closer to Christmas. So it was a good game. Nice to see the Jets get back on track and obviously have any team will go as your top guys and your goaltender goes. So they were going tonight. And
a nice game for Shibrikov to get, acclimated to the Winnipeg Jets style of hockey. But that'll wrap it up. Let us know down below what your thoughts are on this. It's going to be interesting to see what they do next. We'll keep it up to date on that. See you guys later.